All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we are going to talk about the Gervonta Tank Davis fight versus Ryan Garcia. Everybody got in a big hoopla yesterday because some tweets went out between the two. Oscar De La Hoya tunes in, and it sounds like it's what I thought it was. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the lightweight division talking about Gervonta Tank Davis, who's a WBA regular champion, one of the biggest names in boxing, and a potential fight that has been bantied about with Ryan Garcia, fighter, does not hold any belts, former WBC interim title holder, but one of the biggest names as far as young boxers that there are in the sport. Excellent, excellent. I think both these guys are excellent fighters. Whole lot of people don't give Ryan Garcia a lot of credit. I'm not one of those people. I recognize his size, his speed, his punching power, his talent. You know, he's definitely got some technical flaws out there that even I can see pretty blatantly, but an exciting fighter and a guy that sells a lot of tickets. So, you know, obviously, you know, there's a lot of people who want to see the biggest fights in boxing and don't always define that by the people that have all of the belts. Of course, in this weight division, in the lightweight division, Devin Haney has all of the major championship belts. But in that weight division, Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia have the vast majority of the star power. So that's the fight that a lot of people are talking about and want to see. So when Gervonta Davis has said yesterday that Ryan Garcia had agreed to all the terms, I read the tweets, and I thought to myself, yeah, this is all fine and good. But I don't see anywhere where it says that Oscar De La Hoya agreed to any of these terms. So you have Oscar De La Hoya, who now tweeted out, and it was retweeted by Gervonta Davis, that from Oscar De La Hoya to Ryan Garcia, that Gervonta Davis's promoter hasn't called me. So what is all this talk about you having agreed to terms and all of that stuff? Because Oscar De La Hoya is, you know, because in Oscar De La Hoya's voice, nobody talked to me about this. And that is what I said when this stuff first came out. I was like, really? Oscar De La Hoya agreed? Did Ryan Garcia agree to all the terms? Or did Oscar De La Hoya agree to them as well? Because without Oscar De La Hoya, there is no fight going to take place because Ryan Garcia is signed to Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya had already preempted a lot of this conversation by saying what was necessary for the fight to take place. And I don't think that those things are going to actually take place. Now, this is also doesn't bode well for another really big fight that we want to see. And I'll explain that in a second. Now, why are people really listening to or more convinced that this fight could be taking place now is because Steven Espinoza, when Steven Espinoza was in a couple interviews, one was on Tay Jones' channel, the other one was Chicken Talk Space on Twitter, where and in on Twitter in the responses to Devin Haney, was somebody said to him, like, you know, asking who Gervonta Davis could fight and why he's not fighting these guys. And Steven Espinoza said that they were in talks, that Gervonta was in talks to try to make the fight with Ryan Garcia, right? Now, when Leonard Ellerbe was asked about it on Chicken Talk, Leonard Ellerbe just kind of giggled it off, right? Just kind of giggles like, man, okay, I don't want to talk about that. But if you listen to what Leonard Ellerbe said no more than 2 weeks before that, he was like, look, there is no way Ryan Garcia that Ryan Garcia wants to fight Gervonta Davis. These guys all say that they're big names, and they said he actually gave Ryan Garcia credit for being a big name, but he's like, look, these guys and their matchmakers do not want to throw these fighters away by throwing them in there with Ryan Garcia. With Gervonta Davis. He said that as far as Ryan Garcia, and he said this in an earlier interview, that they've tried to make that fight 2 times with Ryan Garcia, and they don't want to make that fight. Now, as far as what Oscar De La Hoya was saying, Oscar De La Hoya saying, look, in order to make this fight, we want to get 50-50 on the purse, and we want to be able to get a 50-50 split between, as far as the promotional deal, between Showtime and DAZN. That Showtime has to be, DAZN has to be involved in this production. Steven Espinoza, for his part, said, look, we're not going to do a co-promotional deal where it's available on both Showtime and DAZN, because when you do that, it's a lot of technicalities that come into that, where you have to get approval on every little thing by two different group of people, and that makes that way too hard a situation, and an impractical situation. He said that we've done that, a few times before, and it was just very, very hard thing to work. So they were not interested in doing that. Showtime is not interested in doing that with Ryan Garcia. So what does this all amount to? This all amounts to a nice little bit of fun. Let me keep my name in the press type of situation out of Ryan Garcia, in my personal opinion. Now, Gervonta was engaged in it too, and I know Gervonta definitely wants to take that fight. But that's when I saw that little wink when he said, "Okay, I guess you agreed to all the terms," and he did a little wink, right? When I saw that wink, I was like, man, what's the wink about? More important than what he just said, what is the wink about? Now, for Javonte Davis's camp portion of it, they were like, and this is the Rise podcast. Got a lot of respect for those guys over there, and they're in the same gym. They were like, let's just hope this fight actually gets to the ring, and that's kind of where I am. I'm hoping it gets to the ring, but I'm not silly, okay? Ryan Garcia is a big draw for Oscar De La Hoya. He's a big draw for Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy does not have Canelo anymore. And if you look at the way that they're treating these fighters over there at Golden Boy is not putting any fights other than in-house fights together for the three guys that they have in that whole promotional company. They got three guys. They have Ryan Garcia, they have Jaime Munguia, and they have Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is the guy that probably has the highest likelihood of actually making a good fight with somebody, but they haven't done anything necessarily put him at any risk. They pass up a Jamal Charlo fight for Jaime Munguia, and then turn around and say right after they pass it up that, okay, we really want to make the fight, but the fight has to be 50-50, and it has to be DAZN. It has to be DAZN has to be involved. Look, man, they're not going to involve DAZN for the B side of the fight, okay? Same thing for Gervonta and Ryan. They're not going to involve DAZN for the B side of that fight. So as much as we love to see this, it's not going to happen. And now, see, this is the thing that I said kind of disturbs me, but makes me really even more nervous about this Errol Spence Terrence Crawford thing. Because Steven Espinoza said that they were in negotiations between Ryan and Gervonta, but then you hear Oscar De La Hoya basically say, what negotiations? It's just like, okay, man. All right. I hope Steven Espinoza isn't just speaking very, very generally in a detached manner about the Errol and Terrence as much as he was about this Gervonta and Ryan Garcia fight, because this thing is more than likely not happening. And by the way, Gervonta said something about December weeks ago. Okay. And then when Ryan had said December in his tweet and he had those big eyes, it was like, I think people are reading into that. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. With that, I'm out. Peace.